Military units, including the East Group and the West Group, must carry out their tasks according to previously approved plans. I hope that everything will go on in their direction the same way it happened in Luhansk so far.
Well, let's cross to correspondent Gulliver Cragg. Gulliver, what's the view where you are?
Well, as you may imagine, the Ukrainian authorities don't see this in any way as a liberation of Luhansk region. They see it as an unprovoked war of conquest to take over Ukrainian territory that they are vowing to take back. So they are describing this as a tactical retreat. And Volodymyr Zelensky, the president, said that, of course, Ukraine would take back Lysychansk and the whole of the rest of Luhansk region in the fullness of time. But what the Ukrainians have been pretty candid about is the reason for this withdrawal, which is the Russians' vast superiority in terms of the might of their artillery and the amount of ammunition that they have got. Clearly, the Ukrainians are struggling with supplies of ammunition, and they're not able to match the Russians' firepower. I mean, not anything like it. Some people have been saying that they've got only 10% of the firepower that the Russians have. So in that context, the Ukrainians have been congratulating themselves actually on a tactical and planned retreat that didn't see any casualties, according to Luhansk region's regional governor, Serhiy Haidai, during the retreat itself. But of course, now the country is bracing itself for an even fiercer onslaught on the rest of Donetsk region, the part of Donetsk region that is still in Ukrainian hands, and particularly the cities of Slovyansk and Kramatorsk.
Yeah, what you're mentioning there is a change in tactics on the part of the Russians, but also on the part of the Ukrainians, no longer digging in at all costs like we saw at the beginning of the war in the southeastern port city of Mariupol.
Well, yes, I think the Ukrainians wanted to avoid a scenario like the one that played out in Mariupol, where Ukrainian forces were surrounded and had no means of escape. That could have potentially happened in Lysychansk. Instead, they got out of there while they still could, because, of course, what ended up happening in Mariupol is that some 2,500 Ukrainian combatants were taken prisoner by the Russians. I've just been at a press conference organized by families of those prisoners of war. About 95 of them were released in a prisoner swap 5 days ago, but that still leaves a bit more than 2,400 in Russian captivity, and their family members say that they have had no contact with them, and that they really don't know in what conditions they're being held in, what is their state of health. The ones that were released were very, very severely injured ones. It's believed that many of those still in captivity are also severely injured, and their family members are denouncing a violation of the Geneva Conventions by not giving the family members any access or any information about where and how their loved ones are being held. And they stressed that Ukraine is not doing the same thing with the Russian prisoners of war that it held. Apparently, the Ukrainian side is giving their Russian family members access and the ability to communicate with them.
Gulliver Cragg reporting live from the capital, Kyiv. Many thanks for that update.